Hey everybody, Niall Doherty here from jQuery Tutorials for Beginners.com. In this video, we are going to install jQuery and we're going to get something working, just really plain basic thing working so we can do our first bit of jQuery. All the code that you see me write here today will be available on jQuery Tutorials for Beginners.com. So head on over there and you can copy and paste and try, play around with some things yourself. It'll be real easy. So the first thing that I've gone ahead and done ahead of time is set up my little directory. What I did was I created this demo folder on my desktop. Oops, let's go back here. Okay, so here's my demo folder. And I have an images folder in there, JavaScripts, and style sheets. There's nothing in any of those at the moment. They're all empty. I do have an index.html page, which looks like this. So I'm in code view here. I use a program for Mac, free software called TextWrangler. If you're on Windows, you could use Notepad++ is good. You can use basic Notepad, although you won't have the highlighting, the code highlighting, if you use something really basic. But any text editor will do, Dreamweaver, Coda, whatever. You can use to write your own jQuery. So, what we need to do first is go to jQuery.com and we're going to go over here and we're going to need to download jQuery. So you'll notice that there's two different versions. There's production and there's development. For our needs, production is going to be fine. Development, if you're doing some really hardcore stuff usually, but production is everything we'll need and it's much smaller file size, so it's pretty handy that way. So we're going to click on download jQuery. That brings us to the code for jQuery. You can see it's all compressed and compacted here, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. But I'm going to go to File, Save Page As, and now I'm in the JavaScripts directory. Let me just show you that. Desktop, Demo, JavaScripts. Okay, keep the file name the same and click Save. And I'm going to go back to the jQuery.com homepage there. And now I'm going to switch back over to my text editor. Now, first thing we need to do, we have our HTML, it's our basic page. I presume you're familiar with this stuff in terms of like HTML tags, doc type, head, title, body, paragraph. Actually, let me show you what that page looks like. Open a new tab here. And I'm just going to drop index.html in there. So that's what the page looks like. Nothing fancy, just really simple. Okay, now we want to reference jQuery on this page. We want to pull in that JavaScript file we just downloaded so the page has access to all the jQuery functions. So to do that, we need to write in script source is equal to, actually let's put in something before that. We put in type is equal to text/JavaScript. So you're going to put this in for all your JavaScript files. We'll have our source there, and then we got to end it like that. Whoops, let me get back. Okay, so now source, what that means is where the file is located. So if you remember, we put it in the JavaScripts directory. So this is all relative addressing. Remember, this may be different if you're running this off a web server. We're just running it off my local machine here, and I suggest you do the same. Just get practice on your own machine. So that file, I believe, was called jQuery-1.6.1.js. Let me double check that. So our file should be in here. It's min.js. Okay, I'm actually just going to copy and paste the file in because that will be easier. Okay, so now we should have jQuery pulled in there. And now we go back, we refresh the page, and nothing happens because we've just pulled in the function. So the potential is there, but we haven't actually asked jQuery to do anything yet. So we're going to do that. What we're going to do is get a simple alert working. This is something I always like to do just to confirm that jQuery is working. So again, we're going to type in type is equal to text/JavaScript, and now we're going to push the close script tag down here. And now in here is where we can write our jQuery. Now the first thing you're going to need to do for any jQuery code is the following. jQuery document.read function and open bracket, and then we're going to have our close that bracket. I say bracket instead of parentheses, you know what I mean. And there you go. So this is what you need to do for every jQuery thing. And we put our code in here. Then in this case, we're just going to put in a simple alert, which is going to say, I'm working. Now if we go to this page, refresh it, nothing happens. Whoops, nothing happens because I missed out on a Y. You need to be careful with these little things, and I'll actually give you a little tip on how to avoid those mistakes in a moment. So now I refresh, and hey, it's working. Okay, great. So just a little alert just to show us that jQuery is working. You would see if we took out this line, it would stop working. Or if we make a little mistake like we just made, it stops working. Now, for that reason, because those mistakes are easy to make, I rarely write this stuff from scratch. I usually just copy and paste it from another file that I know is working. And that avoids those little typos like you just saw me make. Now, I want to show you as well, there's some shortcuts to this. You can also write it just like that, so you don't need document in there. You can also write it like, how is it? Like this, I believe. Let's just make sure that works. Yep, just saved it and refreshed it, and it still works. Okay, so there's little shortcuts to how you can write it, but I'm just going to undo those. So document.ready, and there's also, those three I just showed you are all the exact same. There's also window.load. Now, what's the difference between document.ready and window.load? Well, document.ready, that function executes your JavaScript, your jQuery code that you write in here as soon as the DOM is ready. DOM stands for Document Object Model. So that happens before the page has finished loading. The DOM is usually ready before the page is finished loading, and so your code can start executing before the page is finished loading. Don't worry too much about this if you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, because we're just document.ready is pretty much what you're only going to use ever. Window.load, that works by it executes your code a little bit later when the page is fully loaded. And by that I mean all the images, frames, whatever other content that's on your page is loaded. An example where you might want to use it is if you were loading some images onto your page and you want a jQuery to find out the height and width of those images and do something with that. Then you may need to wait until the whole page is finished loading before executing that code. But as I said, for what we'll be doing, we're just going to use document.ready. And that'll pretty much do what we need it to do. One other thing I want to tell you about here is we're referencing a local copy of the jQuery core file. What you can also do, and which I think is a much better idea for performance-wise, is instead of having it like this, you can reference this jQuery core file that's stored on what's called a CDN. That's a content delivery network. There's some big CDNs out there like Google, like Microsoft, like jQuery.com itself, and check out this website for more information on that. It's jQuerycdn.net. That will show you exactly how to reference those jQuery core files stored elsewhere on the web. So Google, Microsoft, jQuery.com. Take your pick. It shows you the pros and cons of those different CDNs there. Okay, what else do I need to tell you? That's pretty much it. That's your basic jQuery file up and running. We would continue on by replacing this code here with whatever else we want. This, by the way, just comments out the code, so it's no longer executed. Next video, I'm going to talk about the difference between inline, external, and internal coding. and which is best to use where and what are the advantages, disadvantages, all that cool stuff. If you want the code that comes along with this tutorial, as I mentioned, go to jQuery and once again, my name is Niall Doherty. Hope to see you next time and we'll learn some more jQuery.